Dragons of Middle-earth. Hello and welcome back to another video from Secrets of the Rings, where we celebrate and delve deep into all things Tolkien. Today we will examine the dragons of Middle-earth, where they come from, who they were, and the role they played in terrorizing the free peoples of Arda. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe for more content, and let us know what you would like to see more of. The creation of dragons in Middle-earth, although speculated, can safely be attributed to the wickedness of Morgoth, the most powerful and destructive being in Arda. As one of the Ainur, Morgoth possessed the ability of influencing life in ways he saw fit, such as he had done with the orcs, who originally lived as elves. Having witnessed the might of the Noldor, he knew the orcs would not be sufficient enough to destroy them. Thus he began the breeding of dragons. Morgoth likely created dragons by corrupting and twisting the spirits of lesser creatures, such as serpents and worms. In Tolkien's universe, the fire-breathing dragons are referred to as Urulóki, or fire drakes. Not all forms of dragon would be classified as such, however, due to differences in ability to breathe fire. Some are winged, and some are flightless and worm-like. Their numbers were unclear, but they were all cunning, massively powerful, and even possessed hypnotic skills that left victims in a trance. Those who spoke with dragons did so with caution to avoid any spells or attacks. Dragons could live for many centuries and were nearly indestructible due to their protective scales, but lucky arrows or blades could penetrate a small, soft part of the underbelly. The first dragon to appear was Glaurung, the great worm of Angband and father of all dragons. He crawled out of Angband in 260 of the First Age as the Noldor began their siege, driving them out of Ardgallen and back to Dorthonion. The young dragon was mighty but inexperienced, eventually being pushed back by Fingon's forces. After 200 years of captivity, Morgoth sent forth Glaurung to lead the largest army of Balrogs and orcs assembled to that point, laying waste to northern lands in East Beleriand. He returned again in First Age 472, along with his brood, during the Nirnaeth Arnoediad, or the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. This force of dragons wreaked havoc on the Noldor, but the dwarves of Belegost donned war masks that protected them from the flames. They ambushed Glaurung, hacking at him with their axes and sending him into a fury. He would slay their lord, Azagol, but not without suffering a significant wound in his belly, then fleeing with his brood. Glaurung's final acts of treachery served Morgoth's efforts, both in combat and in spirit. In First Age 495, he led an army of orcs to Nargothrond, an elven kingdom built by Finrod Felagund, in the southwest of Beleriand. They destroyed all in their path to Nargothrond and successfully sacked the city. It was during this attack that Glaurung first met Turin Turambar, son of Húrin, the man whose children Morgoth cast a fateful doom upon. He convinced Turin to seek out his family in the wrong place before dispersing his own army and setting himself upon his new horde, as dragons are wont to do. The next year, he met Turin's mother and sister, Morwen and Nienor, on their quest to seek tidings of their son and the once great city. Glaurung wipes Nienor's memory, creating more chaos in the tale of Turin, one deserving of its own video. After several years as Dragon King, Glaurung would press his luck against Turin, attracting him to Nargothrond, where he would slay the great worm with the black sword, Gurthang. Other notable actions of the First Age include dragons of some variety as steeds to Balrogs at the fall of Gondolin, and the release of the largest dragon of all, Ancalagon the Black, at the concluding battle in the War of Wrath in First Age 587. Ancalagon possessed wings and the ability to breathe fire to supplement his massive stature, and was bred for the occasion of Morgoth's biggest push against his enemies. He would be slain in that battle by Eärendil, who sailed the skies in his ship, Vingilot, donning a Silmaril. Ancalagon's falling body broke the peaks of Thangorodrim, adding to Morgoth's ultimate defeat. After Glaurung and Ancalagon, there are only a few other named dragons in Tolkien's mythology. There was one dragon named Gostir, about whom little was known, as well as Scatha, who was known only for his dealings in the north. The Withered Heath, a valley within the Grey Mountains, became infested with dragons by the Third Age. They terrorized the free peoples of the north, specifically the dwarves, and it is believed that in these wars were several of the 7 dwarf rings lost to the dragons. Scatha, of the Cold Drake long worm variety of dragon, had amassed a collection of treasures from the dwarves of the Grey Mountains, or Ered Mithrin. He was eventually slain in Third Age 2000 by Fram, son of Frumgar, of the Eotherod, a race of Northmen. Fram refused to surrender the dwarves' treasures, which included the horn that Éowyn gifts to Merry after the War of the Ring years later. The last dragon of which anything is detailed is Smaug the Terrible, who left the mountains of the north to capture Erebor from the dwarves in Third Age 2770. Lord Smaug the Impenetrable, as he was sometimes known, slept many years in the Lonely Mountain on his hoard of dwarven treasure before Thorin's company left the Shire in Third Age 2941. Gandalf the Grey wished to be rid of the dragon in the growing threat of Sauron's return, for their union would have been nearly impossible to defend. Thorin, a prince of the dwarves, led Bilbo Baggins and the rest of his companions to Erebor. Bilbo would be forced to parley with the beast, using riddles to keep it entertained. Smaug was eventually slain by Bard the Bowman outside of the Lonely Mountain. The dragons sought to destroy the lake men of Esgaroth, the town of Dale, built on the water, believing they were responsible for helping the dwarves intrude. As Smaug flew back and forth, destroying the town, Bard managed to send the black arrow through the only opening in Smaug's armored stomach. The dragon fell, but his influence would last shortly thereafter, through Thorin's dragon sickness, a paranoid state of obsession with jewels and treasures. Smaug's bones remained in those waters and the town was relocated. Even then, people feared to tread anywhere near the fallen dragon's remains. With the death of Smaug, it was said that no dragons remained that could pose a threat to the free peoples of Middle-earth. Even with just a handful of notable dragons throughout the world's history, they played a significant role in the stories that played out in favor of both good and evil forces. In the end, Morgoth's twisted beasts could not help him bring about as much chaos as he had desired, but they have always struck Tolkien's characters and fans alike with awe and fascination. What is your favorite story regarding the dragons of Middle-earth? Do you have a favorite dragon? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and thanks again for joining us in another exploration of Tolkien's wonderful world.